Afternoon, boys and girls, and welcome to episode 89 of Love at First Scent with me, Persolaise, coming to you live today from YouTube. If you're watching the live transmission, thank you very much for tuning in. If you're watching the recording, thank you very much for watching. But regardless of when and how you're watching, please feel free to leave comments and ask questions. I'm just going to go on the tablet to make sure that everything is coming through loud and clear. And we've already got some comments. I still don't understand how you were able to leave a comment before I've even started, but the first person to get a comment today is Anna, so well done saying hello. Umberto says hi, DB70 says hello, hi there, and Druba says, does he start at the end of the hour? What do you mean? I'm not late, am I? Well, maybe I'm a few seconds late. And Q George is here as well saying good afternoon. And for some reason, the comments are going faster here than they are there. Hi from rainy Chicago, says Frag Chi-Town. Joao is saying hello. And Beftus says, hi there from the Netherlands. Hi, Persolaise, hope you're well, says Ilya. Yes, thank you very much. I'm absolutely fine, and I hope you are as well. Hello from Arkansas again as well, says Druba. Oh, I didn't realise that's where you were there. Or if I did, then I've forgotten. Please keep comments. Oh, okay. Finally, somebody's explained it to me. Frederick says it works like a waiting room, like, for example, for a Zoom meeting. Thank you very much. Hi from Scotland, says Benjamin. All right, sexy shirt, says Dream of Me No More. Really? Okay, thank you. Is that a good thing? I don't know. Don't make me feel self-conscious. Thank you. And from Paris, hello, says Gabrielle Doe. Hello, good to see you're looking well, says Herb. Thank you very much. Right, we have got a lot to get through today because it's a best-of video. For those of you who've been keeping up with what I've been doing live for the last few days, thank you very much. You will be aware that last week we had the first of our satellite link-up interviews. On Wednesday, I interviewed Nick Stewart, the founder of Gallivant, and on Thursday, I interviewed Etienne de Swart, the founder of État Libre d'Orange. And if I'm very, very clever and I know what I'm doing, I will put links to those interviews in the video description. And this week, we've got 2 more interviews coming as well. But if I tell you on what days and what times they are, I'm sure I'll get it wrong. So please go to persolaise.com. But I can tell you who they're with. On the Wednesday, I'm interviewing Benjamin Almerac, one of the co-founders of Parlement de Parfum, and then on Thursday, none other than Geza Schoen. But I don't want to talk too much about other episodes, especially for people who are watching the recording, because then they won't make any sense at all. I've just seen that comment. I will get back to it, Cousin73. So I'm not ignoring your comments and questions at all. Please keep them coming. But we need to get going because today I would like us to just have some fun, because you may have gathered from the video description that the idea of today's broadcast is to do my top 10 favorite happy perfumes, or perfumes that are guaranteed to put a smile on my face, or hopefully on your face. And I think we need to get going. I'm just going to do a little bit of adjusting here, because if I don't move it, then the whole setup here could go collapsing. I would like to start with this, and obviously I want to hear what your favorite happy perfumes are. This one. This is Pamplelune by Guerlain from the Aqua Allegoria collection. I'm pretty sure I'm right in saying that this was one of the original Aqua Allegorias released in 1999. And even though Guerlain, I think, are a little bit cagey about who made some of their perfumes during that time, I think it's kind of now widely accepted that this was made by Mathilde Laurent, of course, working under Jean-Paul Guerlain in those days. And I think we need to fill up this space, by the way. We're going to have 10 perfumes here. I think as this is a program about, or an episode about happy perfumes, smiley perfumes, you won't be surprised there's going to be quite a lot of citrus on offer to you today. And I wondered actually whether to just turn this into the sort of top 10 best colognes or Eau De Cologne perfume episode, but it's not really about colognes, and some of them are not colognes. I guess because I'm also quite purist in the definition of what a cologne is. You know, an Eau De Cologne, a classic Eau De Cologne, is a composition that is herbal. Let me just make sure I put this the right way. Herbal, and of course has neroli notes. So it mixes the sort of bracing qualities of neroli, perhaps orange blossom, but petitgrain with herbs. So it has a touch of citrus, a touch of floral qualities, but it's actually mainly quite aromatic and herbal. And and doesn't last very long. It's not meant to last. Of course, a lot of modern colognes have musks to make them last longer. And I thought, well, look, this isn't actually about colognes, but this is about perfumes that have the power to cheer you up. And it just so happens that I think citrus oils, citrus notes, citrus accords do have that power. So I guess it's inevitable that we're going to get a few citruses here, some of them quite similar to each other. But anyway, here we are with Pamplelune. Surely, 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 this must be the best grapefruity scent ever composed, ever poured into a bottle. If you have never tried Pamplelune, you have got a treat in store. And even Madame Persolaise, okay, even Madame Persolaise, for whom grapefruit is like a real punch to the stomach, that's why she can't take vetiver either, because there's something, apparently vetiver and grapefruit have got some molecules in common. There is something about those that she absolutely cannot take, but she doesn't mind this, as long as I don't tell her what it is, because if I tell her it's Pamplelune, then she immediately makes the association with grapefruit. And I saw somebody, who was it? Yes, Herb says, wonderful grapefruit with no acidity. I think I agree with you. I would qualify that maybe saying no harshness, because there is an acid bite, you know, there is that sort of citrus tartness that you want from a citrus scent, that must be something acidic. And yet, it's just so fantastic. And this is one of several bottles that I've had over the years. There's something naughty about it, and I think that's why I like Pamplelune, especially when you get to the dry down. It's quite sweet. Citruses go well with ambery bases, with vanillic bases, as we will see when I reveal all 10 of the perfumes that I've got waiting for you. But this one is just got a little bit of a kink to it, and I wonder if, well, I'm sure it was deliberate, but I wonder if you know, whoever named it, I don't know who named it, but the idea of calling it Pamplelune, you know, the sort of grapefruit moon, maybe something cheeky, something not nocturnal. It is a perfume that takes you through the course of an entire day. Really, really beautiful use of some kind of floral heart. And it's the sun and the moon holding hands and smiling at each other. I was thinking just a few minutes ago, actually, something that I think about quite a lot when it comes to perfumery, that perfume is an art form or a craft. Let's not get into whether it's an art or a craft at the moment. But perfumes are artifacts, objects that seem to have a very, very particular ability to conjure images that are impossible, that don't exist in the real world. Obviously, paintings can do that, you know, surreal paintings can do that, abstract paintings can do that, literature can try to do that, but perfume does it in a very, very visceral way. I think with perfume, you don't think you're looking at a painting, you don't think you're reading, you don't think that it's words that are conjuring up the image. You really, really feel that you are in the middle of this burst of surrealism. And for me, this is a really, really beautiful orange sun and a really, really sort of crescent smiling moon, you know, like almost a sort of a moon out of a fairy tale, out of a children's book. And they've got arms and hands, and they're holding hands, and they're both smiling at each other. And I feel like I'm sort of sitting perched on that crescent of the moon. It's just a joyous piece of work. Lots and lots of comments. I am actually, this is, I mean, it's wonderful that I'm getting to the point where so many of you are interacting, that I almost can't keep up with the comments, but it's sad because I can't keep up with the comments. The other thing I would like to do, just in the spirit of hopefully making us laugh, I want to intersperse most of the perfumes, if not all of the perfumes, with a thing that I got sent through to me on social media a while ago. Knowing me, I'm usually the last person to find out about things that have gone viral, so you probably all know this already anyway. But some of this made me laugh so hard that I thought, okay, let's do it. Let's have Persolaise, the stand-up comic, reading a few funny things out to you in between the perfumes. This was a series of statements that apparently were made by grandchildren. The whole heading of this was how grandchildren perceive their grandparents. And I just wanted to share these with you because, I mean, already I'm like, okay, so here's number one to go, not necessarily to go with this perfume, but number one because we've done the first perfume. So this is a sort of elderly person speaking. I was in the bathroom putting on my makeup under the watchful eyes of my young granddaughter, as I'd done many times before. After I applied my lipstick and started to leave, the little one said, "But Grandma, you forgot to kiss the toilet paper goodbye." I will probably never put lipstick on again without thinking about kissing the toilet paper goodbye. They're just so charming, these, and they must be real. They can't be made up. Okay, let me go through some comments because this is rude. So many of you are writing. Where did we get to? I can't keep up with all of these. I'm sorry, otherwise we'll be here for ages. Okay. Hi from Bucharest, says Cousin. A great interview would be with Madame Persolaise. I'm telling you, it is not going to happen. It's so not going to happen. Hi from Indiana. Lovely colour on you, says Charles. Thank you very much. That's very kind. I want your shirt, says Nubianette. Well, you're going to have to travel to India for it. Because I don't think you'll get it this side of the Middle East. Happy to catch this, says Gino. Very happy to be caught. Hello from Bahrain, says Hussein. Marhaba, Hussein. Tina says hi from Germany. Darius says hi from Lithuania. And Victoria says hello from sunny Eastbourne. Druba says Pamplelune is amazing. Couldn't agree more. I don't know whether I grabbed L'Homme Cologne or this one first. They do share the same grapefruit note. Good point. This is absolutely amazing. Beautiful orchids behind you, says Cousin. Yes, beautifully fake. Although I think actually they're supposed to be sweet peas. Somebody will correct me if I'm wrong. They're not real. It's proving to be quite hard to find real flowers at the moment. So we're making do with these. Frag Chaitan says Fresh had, or still has, a very realistic grapefruit fragrance called Hesperide, but it didn't last long, or Hesperides. Haven't tried Pamplelune, but will now. Frederick says, I agree, colognes can give you that instant lift. Pamplelune is great. Also, the Acqua Colonia range from 4711 is fun and cheap. I still love 4711. DB70's Chinotto di Liguria is a happy perfume for me. My scent of the day. Cousin says, in our household, Eldo, you, as in Estee Lauder Beautiful, you or someone like you is an instant happy and uplift. Yeah, and that nearly made my top 10. My favourite Aqua Allegoria, says Marcus Pamplelune. Joao says, I'm really curious about this list. Un Jardin sur le Nil, a more relaxed happiness, if that makes sense. Agree with you, which is... Yes, relaxed rather than smiley, which is why it's not on this list, even though I adore Jardin sur le Nil. And Fico di Amalfi for me is just fizzy happiness in a bottle. Angeline says, I used to layer Concentré d'Orange Verte with Eau de Merveille to get that Ambree citrus mix. Well, there is an Hermes perfume that kind of does it for you, not exactly. And where are we at? Kelly Jazz says, your description of the type of imagery conjured by perfume reminds me of Tower's Immersive Sculptures line. Yes, and I'd never thought of that, actually. You're absolutely right. Joanne says, I'm happy for sharing that feeling. Okay, and Jay Lee says, Aqua Viva Profumum Roma makes me happy every time I wear it. Nubianette, I've bought several perfumes in the last 2 months, all with the intention that they will be uplifting. Te Yulong, and in the late afternoon add Foxglove by Javoy. Okay, I think that means we need to go on to number 2. Well, it's been mentioned, so we may as well do it now with tons of respect to DB70. Here is one of the ones that also never ever fails to improve my mood. Chinotto di Liguria by Acqua di Parma from their Blue Mediterraneo collection, obviously. Aperol Spritz says gourmands tend to have that effect on me. See, that's when we start getting into really, really subjective areas, because a gourmand would never do that to me, apart from, and that was one that I considered for this list as well, apart from Prada candy, because there is something about the sassiness of Prada's candy, composed by Daniela Andre, of course, that I just think is just, I'm sorry, I'm looking because I want to make sure this is straight, is just so amusing. The only nod to gourmand type tendencies in these perfumes is when they start getting into vanillic Ambree bases, and of course vanilla has a very strong gourmand quality. But if we're talking things like, ethyl maltol type perfumes, sticky, caramelized things, to me they're more about gluttonous, oozing sensuality than just going, yes, I'm going to approach the day with a smile on my face. Druba says, I forgot, have you tried the Chinotto fizzy drink while in Italy? Thank you for remembering. Yes, I did try it, although I forget which trip to it. Hang on, I'll tell you now, because this was released in 2018. So it was that summer. I found myself in Italy for a day, and I thought, right, and I had this perfume with me, and I thought, I've got to find some of this Chinotto drink. It's a particular type of citrus fruit, which has got a sort of metallic, root beery quality to it, and is obviously citrusy as well, but is unlike any citrus fruit I know. And this composition from Acqua di Parma downplays the stranger aspects, but as you smell it, you don't think it's a lemon, you don't think it's a mandarin or a tangerine or a sweet orange or a bitter orange or grapefruit or yuzu. It does have an identity of its own, but it also has a quality that I have yet to be able to put my finger on. The first image that comes to my mind when I think of it, when I think of this thing that is alongside the citrus, is I think of dust, but you wouldn't necessarily think that dust is something that would put a smile on your face, because actually dust is the kind of thing that makes you think, oh, here we go, it's time to clean the house again and dust the surfaces. But a very particular sort of dust, and maybe I mean something mineralic, maybe I mean something chalky, chalk dust, and chalk that has been really well and truly baked by the sun. And I picture rocks, stones, or maybe the external walls of villas, white external walls of villas in Italy and hot Mediterranean countries, just baked by the sun. And if you're sort of walking past them and maybe you brush your fingers across them, you get a sort of chalky residue that smells as though it has absorbed the essence of the sun and maybe whatever fruit trees happen to be growing next to it, and yeah, maybe traffic fumes as well, before any of you clever clogs start talking about pollution and things like that. But there's something really, really Mediterranean about it. You know how I'm trying to think of the images that are coming to my head. You know how in Mediterranean countries, especially if you're on holiday, your feet get really sandy and dusty because you're usually wearing sandals, open shoes, and yet that's kind of okay. They're not dirty as such. It's just a way of you connecting and mingling with the heat of the landscape. That's the quality that I get from Chinotto di Liguria. But the citrus also just makes it so joyful and light and easy to wear and elegant. Of course, it has that Acqua di Parma, je ne sais quoi, elegant quality. I love it. I absolutely love it. DB70, why do you like it so much? You ought to tell us. Right, where did we get to with the comments? Ashfaq says, late as usual, doesn't matter. You're more than welcome. Peter says, I'm late, but hello from Chicago. Thanks for tuning in. Callie says, I wonder if Ralph Schwieger will make this list. I know his work tends to make you smile. Thank you very much for saying that. Yes, he does. And his work does. But the two of his that I love, Lipstick Rose, that always makes me laugh, Feast de Dieu, that always makes me laugh, I just felt like they could have made it onto this list. On any other day, they probably would have made it to this list. I thought, as I've talked about Lipstick Rose already on the best perfumes by Frederic Malle video, I thought, well, let's do another one. But Feast de Dieu didn't quite make the cut. I think it's because it's for me, its burst of life effect isn't quite as long-lasting as I'd like it to be. But no, fantastic piece of work. Hello from Kuwait, says Mohammed. Thanks for tuning in. Ashfaq says, is that a Fotua? Think of the Desi variant of Grandad collar shirt. I don't know. It's just a kurta, right? I don't know. It's just a long... What is a Fotua? I've never heard of that. And Jay Lee says, ooh, I like your description of Chinotto. Thank you very much. How are you guys doing with these stories? Because I want to share them with you. Let me try and do another one for you. Oh, I like this one. This one made me laugh. My grandson was visiting one day when he asked, Grandma, do you know how you and God are alike? I mentally polished my halo and I said, no, how are we alike? You're both old, he replied. Which is exactly the kind of thing a kid would say. And Frederick says, too bad, I love Feast de Dieu. So do I. But, I've told you, I keep trying not to overthink these lists. And today I just thought, no, it's not going to make it. Kenzo says, love Fico di Amalfi from Acqua di Parma, makes me happy. Yes, and the Blue Mediterraneo range, they're all pretty good, really. I don't think there is a single dud in that range. I mean, obviously there are some that I like more than others, but you know, take your pick. They're all sunshine in a bottle in some way or another. Okay, what should I do next? Ooh. Okay, let's do We Love You for Your Nerdiness, says Ashfaq. Okay. Let's do the oldest one on the list. This is from 1980. It doesn't look like this anymore, although I'm pretty sure it also didn't look like this when it appeared in 1980. I don't think it did anyway. I'm not sure what this brand's bottle designs were like in 1980. And it's this, not a scent that I talk about very often, even though I did review it a few years ago on Persolaise.com, and I gave it a very, very positive review. It's actually not a brand that I talk about very often, perhaps unfairly. This is Eau de Monsieur from Annick Goutal. Of course, now they just go by the Goutal moniker. They've dropped the Annick. And this is still on the citrus theme, okay? But this one is just the, you know, when you kind of find yourself about to use the word zingy, and then you think, no, don't use the word zingy because that's like a really, really strange word, and then you end up just sort of thinking, no, but zingy is what I mean. This is like, this is like somebody's just sort of like made you open your mouth and then gone with lemon right across your mouth. But in a good way. So your teeth are chattering with this lemon zest, but in a good way, right? Because of course, you know how there are all these viral videos of little kids, like babies, toddlers, trying a lemon for the first time, and they screw up their faces and they don't know what the hell it is that they've tried, and yet they go back for more, and you can't help but laugh. It completely has that kind of effect on me, Eau de Monsieur. It's like this instant, like, electro charge, like Botox for the brain or something. Or, I don't know, insert some other kind of uplifting treatment. Like, you know, sticking your finger into the, don't try that at home, okay? But sticking your finger into an electrical socket and just going, okay, this day is about to start. It's yellow, yellow, yellow. Ashfaq says, saw a cat trying lime for the first time. Oh my goodness, what was that like? And Q George says, I didn't see you mentioning Annick Goutal. I love this one. Good. Well, fantastic. Okay. Druba says, curious to see how the Monsieur smells like compared to Bois d'Adrienne. Yeah, that Bois d'Adrienne is I think is more complex, is more refined, is more like, you know, sauntering along the beach and the Côte d'Azur. This is simpler. This is heading more into sort of fleeting, not so long-lasting cologne territory. And I think I like the fact that it's simple. I mean, already that lemon fizz is fading away, and what you're getting is paler woods, you know, maybe sort of cedary woods, things like that. But it's just energy. Is that the new version of Eau de Monsieur, says Aperol Spritz? New version. Well, this bottle is, I would guess, maybe 6-ish years or 5 years old. The best way to check is to see when I reviewed it on Persolaise.com, because I got my bottle round about then. So, you know, this scent originally came out in 1980, according to base notes. It is nowhere near that old. But see, it's already just kind of doing its thing and fading away. But that's great. That's great. I'm going to have so many endorphins firing at the end of this hour that I'm not going to know what to do with myself. Anne Kalhar says, nice shirt, thank you very much. And I Am Love says, speaking of happy fragrances, I'm wearing Jubilation 25. So that's the men's version, isn't it? The Roman numerals one. Now, is that a happy one for you? That it's interesting. To me, that's really much more meditative, but fair enough. DB70, I think you summed up Chinotto brilliantly, but I would also add, okay, that I get almost like a blast of fresh air or like a breeze with a fizzy citrus running through it. No, completely agree with you. It has got that quality to it as well, and I'm actually now kind of thinking I like your description better than mine. But there is something about air and the effect of the sun in it, isn't it? Cancun Lover 88 says, Eau d'Italie evokes Italy so well, including the happiness you get while there. Yeah, they're really, really good at doing that kind of vibe as well. Will your happy fragrances include Happy, says Dream of Me No More. That's Clinique's Happy, of course. Sorry, no. I think Happy is a really, really great fragrance, but it's not in my top 10. And I know that for a lot of people, it is the epitome of happiness in a bottle, and they feel it's very, very well named. But no, it's not in my top 10. Sorry. And well, I Am Lust says the word jubilation means you've written celibate. The word celibacy is jubilation. Yes. Hermes Eau de Rhubarbe Écarlate says Frag Chinatown, and Kenzo 25 says Frederic Mal try saying that again. Geranium pour Monsieur makes me happy. Oud makes me happy, says Ashfaq. Yeah, fair enough. No ouds in this one. And Angeline, there's a difference for me between happy and zesty or awakening fragrances. Fair point. The latter is a physical effect, but those that make me happy are not necessarily invigorating. No, I get that. I get that. Okay, let me do one more of these stories. Oh, I like this one. When my grandson asked me how old I was, I teasingly replied, I'm not sure. Look in your underwear, Grandpa, he advised. Mine says I'm 4 to 6. Sorry. Do I have an inane sense of humour? But I love these. And Dream of Me No More says Clinique Happy is an electro spin-off of Pleasures, okay, which is another candidate I would suggest, or at least in terms of marketing. Ooh, we're not going to have Pleasures, but we may have something else from that territory, so stay tuned. Bigarade Concentré is also great smelling, says Gloopy Moop, but a bit poor on the performance side. Oh, that performance word. Don't use the performance word. It's a cologne. It's not meant to last long. Azama says, lime makes me happy. Could you recommend me a great lime-based one? Honestly, no. I'm not sure that I... Lime is tough, and I think somebody out there does need to make a really, really good lime perfume. Okay, we need to move on because time is running out. Let's do this one because this is a large bottle. Let's do this. Right, are we ready for this? I said that we're kind of going in a cologne bent, and I think this is one of the most enjoyable. This is one of the happiest colognes in my collection. I do love a good cologne, and of course, as you can see, this is the Chanel Eau de Cologne from their exclusive collection, and this is the version that came out in 2007. There's not much point almost in spraying some of these on blotters, although it'll be interesting to find out how they fare on blotters. I almost said perform. Did you see what I did there? And is that are you still going to see that if I pop that there? But this is exactly what a cologne should be. And I'm spraying this on paper and thinking, and this really, really actually shows that colognes should be smelt on skin. I mean, obviously all perfumes smell better on skin, or at least they smell fuller on skin. But I think this particular cologne needs the heat of the warmth of its woods brought out by skin. But this is exactly what you want a cologne to be. Nice dose of musks in the base. Really, really bright and yet seamlessly connected citrus notes at the top. So I love Bigarade Concentré. Sorry, I love Cologne Bigarade from Frederic Malle for its holographic quality. You can really, really see all the citrus fruit, leaping at you. I love the Cologne from Chanel because actually it covers up all the seams, right? It covers up all the distinctions between the different notes and gives you something more abstract. So there's citrus at the top, there are herbs, lots and lots of rosemary in the heart, and those musks in the base, but they are a wholeness. There is a wholeness to them, a seamlessness. And this is probably, I'm just looking at what I've got here, this is probably the sort of most sedate of the happy perfumes that we've got for you today. It's probably the most distinguished, but that's okay. Happiness doesn't have to be undistinguished or silly. Definitely one of the highlights of the Chanel exclusive collection, and nice that you can just sort of keep spraying it and keep spraying it. What comments have we got? Oh, somebody's answering about lime. Herb says Guerlain's Aqua Allegoria Limon Verde. Fine if you like. I don't know if I was crazy about it. Maybe I need to revisit it. Druba says, oh, talking to Osama, so that's fine. Ashfaq says, that shirt design in relation to Happy reminds me of those dodgy stamps. What do you mean? What stamps? What sort of stamps? I Am Love says, two happy fragrances for me are Amiris Homme by Francis Kurkdjian and Dulcis in Fundo by Perfumum Roma. Try Limoneros from Arquiste. I quite liked it for a lime fragrance, Jaylee. I've not even heard of that one from Arquiste. Okay. Lime, Mandarin and Basil by Joe Malone says, Dream of Me No More. Or there is a Guerlain Cologne with lime, Cologne Imperial. Benjamin says, weirdly, I find iris makes me happy. No, that's not weird. I mean, happiness is a very, very subjective thing, even though I know the note can usually bring a heartbreaking quality to a scent. Jubilation 25 does make me happy too, as someone else mentioned. Perfect. You're not alone. Angeline says, I love the Chanel cologne. Others I enjoy are Neroli Portofino, another one that kind of nearly made it to this list, and Colonia Assoluta too. Those are all what I choose when it's really sweltering. Rachel says, Mugler's cologne, Hermes Concentré d'Orange Verte, Eau de Sud. Ashfaq says, I may have asked this before, but have you tried Khas Neat in very hot and humid weather? Somehow it cools the body. Yeah, somehow it does, and somehow, because it's vetiver, it absolutely does not cool Madame Persolaise. But I know you mean, I've got some of the Khas, the thick green stuff from India. Benjamin says, speaking of Amouage, will you be reviewing the new release? This is a flanker, people. This is the second time we're mentioning it on a video without actually reviewing it. It is, of course, a flanker to Interlude Man. I mean, sacrilege. If you're going to do a flanker to that perfume, you need to make sure it's good. I would love to review it. Of course, I'd love to smell it and review it, but I don't know how that's going to happen yet. And Christine says, Armani Privé Bleu Turquoise makes me happy. And Stefan, Chanel number 22, Bright as the Sun. Yeah, it's a good point, actually. The number 22 could easily have made it on here. But again, number 22 for me is somehow too contemplative, too meditative. Peter says, recently picked up Guerlain's Cologne du Parfumeur. I think it's an amazing scent from Thierry Vassar's work at Guerlain. I've still got that somewhere. Right, I've only done 4 and we're at the half-hour mark. We need to move on. So, okay, somebody mentioned Francis Kurkdjian. Let's do this. Happiness. Oh, I need to be careful what I say here. I was going to say that happiness is not... I was going to say happiness is not a quality that I associate with Francis Kurkdjian. That's not true at all. I think in interviews he's got a very, very, very sly, cheeky sense of humour, and I think he's one of these interview subjects that feels he needs to control his mirth. So no, but I think shiny, happy smiliness is not necessarily a quality that I associate with his brand. I think a lot of the perfumes have got sort of quite a smart quality to them that it isn't necessarily smiley, happy. But I like this. This is probably the quietest smile. So the Chanel was the sort of most elegant, most refined, most dignified. This is the quietest one. This is the sort of inner contentment, an inner smile, inner glow of happiness. I'm not sure if you can see which one it is there, but this is the Aqua Vitae, the Eau de Toilette version, the one that came out first. There's a Forte version as well. And I think I'm right in saying that this is the one that is a little bit harder to get now. I think you have to get it from the MFK site direct. I could be wrong, whereas the Forte is more widely available. This came out in 2013. I've always been really, really taken with it. Again, the fact that it comes in a large bottle like this, some other MFK scents are coming out in 200ml bottles, suggests that you're meant to be generous in how you spray it. Right, this always feels like doing a bit of interior decorating here, when you're sort of arranging these things to make sure they're all. Now this, yeah, see, this is a quiet smile. This really, really is an internal smile. Can you see that? Yeah. It's probably the I'm looking. Yeah, this is moving us away now from citruses. So these have been quite citrus heavy, but this is actually basically a sort of woody scent with a huge dose of hedione, which then of course takes it into kind of watery floral areas. But what I've also always loved about this is that it has a very, 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 very faintly smoky quality. Incense, like, it could be the effect of the guaiac wood, but it's very, very comforting. And of course, comforting scents are a whole thing of their own, and I could do a sort of top 10 favorite comforting scents. But there is a suggestion of citruses there, and it's just so luminous. And I think Kurkdjian knew what he was doing when he called it Aqua Vitae, because it is so full of life, and it is full of the serenity of life, as opposed to joy. And there is something quietly, insistently vital about it. There is a real vitality to it. Hence why I think it's so well named. Really, really gorgeous. Really, really subtle. Yeah, just maybe not a lot of people have tried it, but if you haven't checked this one out, please do. Really works very well. Some more comments. Hoiting Kimberly Fung says Penhaligon's Empressa makes me smile every time. Okay, fine. Tina says Chanel's number 19 EDT makes me happy, like the smell of rain on a hot day. Nice one. Ashfaq says urbane is the word that comes to my mind when I think of some of the MFKs. Superb. Actually, best word. Yeah, you've hit the nail on the head. Bart says the Arquiste Lime one, Limoneros, was a very limited edition in cooperation with El Palacio de Hierro. Never tried it, but it sounded intriguing. Oh, okay, so that's why I never tried it. Aperol Spritz says Aqua Viva. It has a warm hue to it. I think of summer day scents when I wear it. Eric says I love Aqua Vitae. Victoria says hoping for Le Frenchy to appear on your list. No, no more Guerlains. There's only, today I can tell you that there's only one from each brand, so you know that you're not going to get another one from any of these brands. Right, let me do another one of these funny stories. Oh, this one, sorry. Children's logic, okay? A teacher said, give me a sentence about a public servant. A small boy wrote, the fireman came down the ladder pregnant. The teacher took the lad aside to correct him. Don't you know what pregnant means? She asked. Sure, said the young boy confidently. It means carrying a child. You can't make these up, sorry. Lala says the problem of the Aqua range is the longevity. Well, only if you want it to last long, but you know, some perfumes are designed to be quite fleeting and to be really subtle. Aqua Vitae, the EDT, does last quite a good length of time. Spray it on fabric if you want to make it last longer, but it becomes very, very subtle. And I think it's telling that Kurkdjian decided to do a Forte version of this, because I guess a lot of people said, look, I like it, but I want it to last longer. But I don't think the Forte version has quite the same effect as the EDT. Dream of Me No More says, if there is no Serge Lutens on this list, should we understand that as telling us with regard to Lutens? Yes, you should. Although I like the latest one. I like the, in terms of happiness, I love Lutens, but no, there's no Lutens on this one. Okay, we need to move on. Let me do another one that is really like bound to wake me up. This is, again, one, you know, a brand that I don't think I've ever talked about in any of these videos here, haven't written much about, not very widely available. I mean, if I were to do this, would many of you even know what this brand is? Those of you based in North America will be more likely to know. I'm just going to give it 5 seconds to see if any comment. Odin, thank you very much. Okay, you guys do know. Sorry. This is Odin. Will you see? How can I hold it so you can see? Right, there you go. This is Odin 02. Okay, you all know it. Okay, right. Forgive me. Forgive me that I doubted you. Oh, loyal Persolaise followers. This is Odin 02. Yes, it is Owari or Owari, as somebody has written, which apparently is a region in Japan, I believe. This is again. Up there, you know, on the same level as Cologne Bigarad from Frederic Malle. This is one of those holographic citruses. I mean, goodness me, talk about like zing. This is, you can just taste it. I think I'm salivating when I'm, so gourmand in a different way, right? It's just like somebody, it's amazing in terms of citrus peel, says Aperol Spritz. Yes, totally. I mean, it's just extraordinary. You know how as a kid, I used to love playing with citrus peel. You know, so if somebody had peeled an orange or something, I used to like getting the peel and squeezing it so that the oil would come out on your face. I used to love the feeling of that on my face. Probably I actually loved the smell as well. And this has that same quality. It is just so mouth-watering, and you can see this orange peel. You can see the oil bursting out of it, and look, I'm actually smiling so much I can't control the smiliness of this is going to be endorphin overload now, isn't it? I'm gonna need to make sure I have some kind of a depressant after this. No caffeine for me today. No more caffeine, I should say. This also goes into a really, really beautiful, smooth, woody, cedary, incensey note, I think, in keeping with the Japan theme. It is just this burst of citrus sharpness, but like Pamplelune, it never, ever, ever becomes harsh. Frank Chaitan says, looking at the notes for this on Lucky Scent, do you smell the pepper? Not overly, no. It's not something that is obvious, you know, like that very distinctive pink pepper burst that you get from some perfumes. No, nothing like that. But maybe in terms of probably that uplift, you know, probably that sense of you going, oh. This was made by perfumers that, you know, whose names are not really thrown around or bandied about too much. Kevin Vespour and Pierre Constantin Guéros, they have, I think, worked on quite a few of the Odin scents. It's an overlooked line. I don't even know if they're available in the UK anymore. I think for a while they were available at Liberty in London, and then I think maybe things went a little bit pear-shaped, although perhaps they are still there. But if you want something along the lines of Cologne Bigarade that just makes it, you know, it's like citrus fruit, like old-fashioned flashbulbs on cameras, you know, like you see in old movies, journalists taking pictures. It's just like of all these citrus juices flying across everywhere. Eric says, for fresh, happy scents, I don't think one can beat Calyx. Abstractly perfect. Ooh, now that's making me think I need to dig out my bottle of Calyx. I've got it somewhere. And Mohammed says, Chameleon by Zoologist is one of the happy ones I've tried. I don't know that one from Zoologist. Aperol Spritz, I think the whole line of Odin is done and over. Well, that's why I wanted to be sure that it's still around. The website is still active, and I checked it today to make sure that the perfumes are and they are. The perfumes are on the website, so maybe you can only get them direct from them. Right, we have got 4 to go, and we have to be done in 17 minutes. Smell après l'onde to counter the endorphins. Very good. Okay, I'm just wondering what I'm going to end. Let's do this next, because this is a little bit similar to something that's coming up later on. You guys are going to know this one. If I were to say tower, you're immediately going to say, I say tower, you say star, okay? This is of course, Orange Star from 2010. One of Andy Tower's most beloved creations. I think also one of his most successful. I'm pretty sure it was Orange Star that won a UK Fifi award. This very much plays on the happy connection between citruses and ambers. Where can we pop this? Oh, I'm getting it now. This is so good. A colleague of mine at work, this is one of her absolute favorite perfumes, and whenever I manage to get like a few drops of sort of vial or anything, I sort of pass them her way. This is just I love all of these scents, okay, and they are all perfect in their own ways, but this is a very particular sort of perfection. And it's interesting. I must have reviewed it 10 years ago when it first came out. And I remember very clearly thinking then that it made me picture myself lying down in an orange grove. And for some reason, I've always been filled with, when I smell Orange Star, with this image of the oranges and the trees and the leaves and the branches being above me. I don't know why. Maybe I'm picturing the sort of gradation of the colors, you know, where you sort of got, you can see the leaves, you can see the fruit, but then above that you can see the sky, then maybe you can see the sun. It's a perfume that makes me think of looking up. But there's just so much going on here that, and this is why, you know, this could never be an episode, could never have been an episode just on the best cologne scents, because, you know, this isn't a cologne. It's a citrus scent, but it's also an amber scent. It's definitely got a floral aspect to it. It's got that beautiful Andy Tower amber in the base. And really, really fantastic use of, fantastic blend of woods. You know, I'd imagine something like Petitgrain with the citruses, really well judged use of the citrus notes. I would imagine probably quite a high or a relatively high percentage of naturals. You can't see it here because but it's just made the Blotto Turner kind of just off-white orangey colour. And curiously, it's also got that slightly mineralic, slightly flinty, slightly chalky feel that I associate with the Chinotto, that for me is just so sun-baked and outdoorsy. I don't wear this enough, actually. It's probably because the scents that I really, really love, I don't want to overwear them because I just worry that the bottles will be finished. But this is delicious as well. Delicious in a very, very different way from the Odin. I've gone from saying that no, these are not gourmand perfumes to describing so many of them as delicious. So, okay, forgive me. Some more comments. I ordered 16 samples of Tower perfume, says Mohammed. Can't wait to try tomorrow. Wow. 16. I wonder how many perfumes does he have? Where did you order them from? I'm curious. Benjamin says, Orange Star. Yes, that makes me happy every time. Thank the perfume gods for Andy Tower. We've got to tell him that. We've got to get that message to him. Flaconess says, wow, a little late, but hello from Germany. You're absolutely more than welcome. Lala says, your description makes me think of a happy Mediterranean morning under an orange tree in the summer. Yes, it's that kind of thing. Any Frederic Mal on the list, says Elia. We've talked a lot about Mal. I think, you know, I've said that Lipstick Rose nearly made it here as a really, really happy Mal perfume, but I thought it was time to give some other brands a bit of a go. And Keith says, the sound is not syncing with your mouth. Ooh, okay, well, if that's the case, then I'm really, really sorry, but there's nothing I can do about that sort of thing at the moment because I can't stop the broadcast now, so hopefully you can put up with it. Maybe one thing you may want to do is, obviously not if you're watching the recording, but if you're watching live, maybe one thing you may want to do is close your YouTube down, you know, maybe close the YouTube app on your phone or whatever, and then open it. Druba says, you're fine on my end. Yeah, sorry, these sorts of glitches are bound to happen, you know, when you're transmitting all over the world. What do you expect? Sorry about that, Keith. Mohammed says, Perfumeria from Netherlands. Oh my goodness, all the way from the Netherlands. Okay, fine. Kenzo says, it might sound weird, but Comme des Garçons Order 71 makes me happy, but there's no citruses there at all. Okay, I haven't tried that for a long time. Okay, we have got 3 to go. Oh, we need to, let me do one more story. I'm going to do 2 more of these stories because there's one that I absolutely love, but then that kind of reflects my really, really wicked sense of humor. Oh, I love this one, okay? Sorry. A 6-year-old was asked where his grandmother lived. Oh, he said, she lives at the airport, and whenever we want her, we just go get her. Then when we're done having her visit, we take her back to the airport. There are probably so many expat kids, you know, with families scattered all over the world who could relate to that. Parachute says, wearing Aqua Celestia, and just got to your video while watching a trailer of Midnight in Paris. As in the Woody Allen movie. Okay, right, let's do this next. This is, again, an oldie but a goodie, a classic. This is from 1985. As far as I'm aware, no longer available in this bottle. And it's also probably, in some ways, the most complex of the perfumes we're trying, in the sense of it being really, really symphonic and really, really grand. Okay, this is not a cologne, this is not a citrus scent, this is not a simple woody scent. This is the one and only just gorgeousness poured into a bottle, beautiful from Estee Lauder from 1985. And why did I go for this? And I thought, well, if there is one thing that also always puts a smile on my face, it is a beautiful flower arrangement, beautiful bouquet of flowers. And then I thought, okay, so what floral scent can I think of that A, never fails to make me happy, and B, conveys that feeling of holding a bouquet, okay? Can you see that? Right, let's move those things a little bit along there. And beautiful is always the one that I think it hasn't been bettered in some senses as an abstract floral bouquet. It's so good. It's so beautiful. I did have one little spray of it before this video, and I thought to myself, okay, maybe time hasn't been as kind as it could have been to it. Maybe it is coming across as just a tiny little bit dated now. I mean, it does feel quite 80s. And I wonder if there's something about the kind of shampooiness of the musks in the base there that now makes us think of a particular period in history, but I don't care. It is just so beautiful. I mean, how can you not love beautiful? And so fantastically named. I love the fact that Estee Lauder had the guts to say, yes, we are going to make a perfume called Beautiful. There's everything in there. There's sort of freesias and lilacs and rose and jasmine and the greenness of those notes as well. Really, really fascinating stories that I was able to hear firsthand about Beautiful. I won't go into them now because we haven't got the time, but I was very fortunate a few years ago to interview a lady called Karen Khoury, who had an extremely high position at the Lauder Creation Factory and is still involved with the creation of lots of Tom Ford scents. I had an extensive, exclusive interview with her that I think spanned 3 separate parts on Persolaise.com. I will link to the one part in the video description below after YouTube has finished processing the video, where she specifically talks about Beautiful, because it was really fascinating what she had to tell me about Beautiful. We now consider Beautiful to be a perfume that was composed by Sophia Groisman, and that Bernard Chant had a lot to do with as well, another legendary perfumer. But if you read the interview, you will see that Karen Khoury said that Sophia Groisman finished the perfume, and there were lots and lots of steps to that. Really fascinating. So if you're watching live, hold on to your horses, because YouTube takes about 24 hours to process these videos. So I will put the link to the video, to the interview in the video description below. But this is, it's just heartbreakingly beautiful, and I'm absolutely not surprised that Lauder keep advertising this with wedding day imagery. Okay, here we go with comments. Keith says, reloading worked. Okay, perfect. Dream of Me No More says, I think Alberto Morillas does a good line in Happy Perfumes, which are commercial. Good point, actually, but I don't think there is a single Morillas in here, interestingly. Ashfaq says, Towers shipping has gotten more difficult, very similar to UK. Yeah, but it's not the brand's fault. It's all of these restrictions that are placed on brands. Dream of Me No More says, Flower, Pleasures, Acqua di Gio, CK1, Daisy, and Mugler Cologne all had, Morillas had a hand in. Absolutely. And Ashfaq says, then he made Office for Men. We're not going there. I haven't tried it. Lala says, I would like to know what you think about the Jeremy fragrances. I haven't tried them, honestly. Parachute says, Beautiful sounds more interesting than Bleu de Chanel. Yes. I guess this could work as a masculine in the 2010s. Wear it. Absolutely. Why not? I hope Karen Khoury writes a book one day. What a fascinating career, says Eric. Yeah, that would be amazing. And Keith says, the only Estee Lauder that I have is Youth Dew, and I love it. She talks about Youth Dew in the interview as well. I love Youth Dew. Okay, we've got 2 to go. What this is, folks, is episode 88 of Love at First Scent with me, Persolaise, coming to you live from YouTube. But if you're watching the recording, thank you very much for watching as well. Please consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already done so. Please give me hearts and likes and thumbs up, leave comments, ask questions. Please consider supporting my work on Ko-fi. All of that support is really, really tremendously appreciated. And we have got to do 2 perfumes in 5 minutes. This is unfair. Okay. This one is one of my personal favorites. Orange Blossom from Penhaligon's. Again, Penhaligon's may be a brand that we don't give enough time to in these videos. This was originally released in 1976, but then Bertrand Duchaufour updated it in 2010, and this is the Duchaufour version, as you can tell from the packaging. Really, really love wearing this on breezy, summery days. And again, maybe a bit like Pamplelune, I find that there's something. Actually, let's do this. I find that there's something deliciously naughty about this one. I think in my book, I wrote that it's a perfume that is very well aware of the birds and the bees. Is that working there? Yeah, let's do that. Okay. Yes, it's an orange blossom, but there's so much else going on there. There's I'm now sort of picking up a nice incensey note, and I always think of buzzing bees, and I think of honey. I think of pollination. I think of the bees, maybe like an orange blossom honey, and a really, really plush base. This is a base that you feel you can kind of settle into and will just bear your weight beautifully. So there's like this really, really lush cushion in a garden, and you sink into it. It's just fantastic. Druba says, does anyone know if there's a difference between Castile and Orange Blossom? But I'll let somebody else answer that because we need to move on. Dream of Me No More says, do you not like tea fragrances or ozonic ones? I do. I mean, tea definitely more than ozonic. But I don't think tea scents or ozonic scents necessarily put a smile on my face. Sounds like beige, says Angeline. Actually, you may not be wrong, but I think this is more interesting. And last one. We had to have something by this particular gentleman. He hasn't been mentioned yet, actually, because he has got the sunshine, the Provençal sunshine running through his veins. Of course, it's Monsieur Elena. We've talked about Hermes, but we haven't mentioned Jean-Claude Elena. And I love this as well. I love his Eau de Mandarine Ambree from 2013. And I think of this in relation to Tower's Orange Star. I've often thought of it as perhaps a less challenging Orange Star, a more streamlined, simpler Orange Star, but in a good way, because the central idea is very, very similar. It's this, let's take a citrus fruit and let's stick it on an ambrée base. But the Tower is deeper. The Orange Star is definitely a deeper scent. This has got a more overt cologne-like intentions. It's much more fleeting. It's much lighter, but the mandarin note is perfect. It's spot on. You can see the beautiful little tangerines and mandarins. You want to reach out and let me do this. reach out and pick one up and peel it, sink your teeth into it. And the connection to the amber base is beautifully done. Right, I am all smiled out, but I have to share this last story with you. I love this one. After putting her grandchildren to bed, a grandmother changed into old slacks and a droopy blouse and proceeded to wash her hair. As she heard the children getting more and more rambunctious, her patience grew thin. Finally, she threw a towel around her head and stormed into their room, putting them back to bed with stern warnings. As she left the room, she heard the 3-year-old say with a trembling voice, "Who was that?" That one I've laughed at again and again and again. Please indulge my wicked sense of humour. Thank you so much for all the comments. Thank you very much for tuning in. Please check out Persolaise.com for details of the 2 interviews coming up this week. On Wednesday, it'll be Benjamin Almerac, co-founder of Parlement de Parfum. And then on Thursday, fingers crossed, coming live from Berlin, it'll be Geza Schoen. And I'm sure we'll be talking about his latest eccentric molecules creations. Thank you very much for all of the support. Lots and lots of goodbyes coming through. Granerally always makes me smile, says Flaconess. So that's in relation to Atelier Cologne. Yeah, they're a good brand as well in relation to giving you a smile. Thank you. More for my to try list, says Victoria. Great stuff. Thank you, says Peter. Thank you, says Tina. Thank you very much. I really, really appreciate the fact that you tune in and that we interact. And I hope you have now all got a huge smile on your face. Okay, take care. See you soon. Bye.